Side projects. They're a bit like assholes. Everyone should have at least one. And some people like to show them on the internet. So here's my side project. As you might know, the motivation to work on a side project can go up and down faster than the stock market during a pandemic. A switch in projects is pretty fucking common. So the difference I did with this one is that I actually finished it. So about this project, I'm using Unity, Audacity, Blender and GIMP. I decided pretty much from the beginning of the project that it would be a simple game that you could pick up and play as fast as possible. So the first thing you see is the level you're gonna play. I also wanted it to feel like everything connected in a smooth way. So as you can see here, when you start it, it animates up the level, the ball falls down, you tap the screen, it zooms in. When you die, there is a rewind animation. When you finish a level, the ball flies away. When you come to the next level, the ball flies in, bounces, and you start. And now for some actual development things. I won't go into code, but I feel like it might be interesting to know how some things work anyway, and some issues that came up during the development. There are probably several ways to make this game. I picked the one that made the most sense to me. So the game is split up in two parts, one visual part and one physics part. And I'm not using any 3D physics at all in this game. So this is how it works. I have a 2D level that is the same length as the circumference of the circle. So I'm just taking a 2D position on the level and converting it to a 3D position on the circle. The player movement is based on the controller from Sebastian Legue's tutorial on how to make a 2D platformer, with some changes I needed to make for it to work in my game. And I will link that tutorial in the description. I noticed that there was some stuttering when the camera was following the ball around the circle. And after failing to find this cause, I researched some and I found this article that describes the issue and provides a solution for it. And if you want a more in-depth explanation for it, which I recommend, the link is in the description. But in short, it interpolates between the two last transforms to achieve the smoothness, but it adds a small latency for it. One of the goals I had for this project was to keep the size of the APK down as much as possible. So if you're interested in that, I recommend to look into these things. Pretty much the first thing you do when you try to keep the size down is to look over all the sounds and textures and see how much you can compress them. And one way to find things that are taking up too much space is to actually go into the editor log after you have built an APK. And you can actually see the uncompressed sizes of all the assets. Code stripping. In Unity you can check a tick box to remove unused engine code. You can also set the managed level of it from low, medium, high. The small problem with this is that it might break your game. So you have to be careful and actually play test the game a lot to see that some scripts are not missing. And if they are missing, you can do a workaround to create an empty scene and add those components to the objects in the scene. And it should be included in the build after that. If you're using the Tween library, you can disable parts of it. So for example, I'm not using the physics or the sprites parts of it, so I disable them so they won't be included. So my APK ended up being around 15 megabytes, which I'm pretty happy with. So sound and music. That's probably one of the harder things for me to make, so I ended up buying them on the Unity Asset Store and mixing the sounds together in Audacity. But that's probably something I will work on in the future, since I would really like to make my own music. And that might show up in the future. So, monetization. It's fun, right? So I ended up going with Unity ads, since it's already built into Unity. And I'm not really expecting to earn a shit ton of money on the game. I just wanted to try my ad system pretty much. And the system is that after level 5, you have a counter that needs to reach 4. Things that adds to that counter is when a player dies or goes to a new level. So if you die 8 times in a level, you should be shown an ad twice. My starting goal for levels was 100. But after making some levels, I realized that it took much more work than I was willing to put into it. So I decided on making only 60. I built it so that each 20 levels is a collection with a new graphical theme and adds a new mechanic. The first collection is just a base game with the jumping. The second adds a bounce object that is pretty much a outer jump in the air. The third one adds a gravity flipper. With the customization, I tested the idea of having different meshes for player character. But I decided on having texture changes and color changes would be simpler and would not need as much work from me. As the goblin that I am, I toyed around with the idea of having skins unlocked with ads or coins, like other casual games, but I like the idea of unlocking them by playing much more. So there are 3 skins you can unlock per collection, at level 5, 10 and 20. And there are also 2 skins that you have from the beginning. So anyway, that was this project. I am Sylvester, and thank you for watching. Try my fucking game. Thank you.